this is Humblehus here. Thanks for stopping by. We're going to be making this rainbow pillow. I hope you enjoy making it. Let me tell you what you need. You're gonna need a yarn needle, scissors, stitch markers, crochet hook. I'm using a 5mm one, and pom-pom makers. You will also need stuffing, and you get it at any craft store or order it online. The yarn I'll be using is Joy DK by Loops and Threads. The colors are Coral, Spearmint, Lagoon, Mint, and all of these are a light 3. Recommended hook size 5mm. This is acrylic. And because I couldn't find the white or the snow color, they are sold out, I am going to be using this Karen cotton cakes. It is a medium 4, but feels quite similar to the other one, even though it's a little bit heavier. The recommended hook size is 5mm, and the color is white. This is 60% cotton and 40% acrylic. Let's start with the white yarn. Begin by making a slip knot. Form a loop, and by the way, I decided to change my hook to a 4.5mm one, but it's fine, you can keep the 5mm one, it doesn't matter. I just prefer to go a little bit smaller. So insert your hook through that middle, and then you're going to pull this yarn through. You need to hold on to both ends and pull, then simply adjust it. Start by making 42 chains. The way you make a chain, in case you don't know, you yarn over your hook and then pull it through the loop. Yarn over, pull through your hook. So this is 2. Go all the way to 42. You have 42 chains. From your hook, you're going to skip the first 2, so this one and this one, and into that third one, we're going to start making a double crochet. So you yarn over, you insert your hook through that one loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, you have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, you have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through the last 2. We're going to do double crochets all the way back, and you will have a total of 40 when you're done, because the fact that we skip these first 2 chains, and don't get confused, don't insert into the stitch that you just made, go into the next one. And if you need to count how many you already have, you see these loops at the top? You have 1, 2, 3, and 4. At the end of this first row, you will chain 2 and turn your work. Now you're not going to go into this stitch because that would be the same one. You will go into this next one. Also with a double crochet, start off by doing 16 double crochets into the next 16 stitches. Here I have 4 so far. After those first 16 stitches or double crochets, you want to grab a stitch marker. It doesn't matter what size, whatever you have at hand. And if you don't have any stitch markers, you can use a paper clip. It works just as well. But I am going to use this small one, and basically it's just so that I know that I have 16 right here. And into the next 8 stitches, we're going to do 2 double crochets into each stitch, like that. You see that? So there's 2 in this one stitch, and like I said, do that in the next 8 stitches. That will give you a total of 16 double crochets in that space. You're going to have 16 stitches left, or at least that's what you should have, and we are going to go back to just double crochets into each stitch. That's where I'm going to put my stitch marker. That way I know that these are the ones that have the 2 double crochets in every stitch. You're done with row number 2. Chain 2, turn your work, and now you're going to double crochet into every stitch all the way back. So remember, not this one, this next one. You should have 48 stitches in this row. At the end of this third row, well, almost at the end, I'm on my last stitch. I'm going to start my double crochet as usual. So I have 3 loops on my hook, and then I go through the first 2 loops. And now on this last one is where I'm going to switch colors. So instead of pulling the white through, I'm going to pull the mint one through to finish off that stitch. And now I will chain 2 and turn my work like that. And this is also the part where I can then cut off the white yarn. And you can make a little knot here if you want to, but eventually you're going to thread this into your work. Now for row number 4, you're going to double crochet into the next 16 stitches. There are the 16 stitches. I will put a stitch marker again, and into the next 16 stitches you're going to do 2 double crochets into each stitch. After you did those double crochets, those 2 double crochets into each stitch, then you're going to do just double crochets, just 1 double crochet into every stitch, which should be 16. And like last time, I'm going to put my stitch marker here so that I know that all of these are 2 double crochets into each stitch, and simply finish doing the double crochets into each stitch. You should have 64 stitches at the end of this row. After row number 4, chain 2, turn your work, and do double crochets into every stitch. And you will do that for for this row, which is row number 5, and also for row number 6. And I will meet you when you're back over here after row number 6. When you're about to finish row number 6, this is where we're in the last stitch. This is where we're going to switch colors. Start your stitch as usual, and then take the white again and finish off that stitch. Chain 2 and turn your work. This is where we can cut off the mint color. For row number 7, you're going to do double crochets into the first 16 stitches. You have the first 16 double crochets, add your stitch marker, and then continue to do 2 double crochets into the same stitch for the next 32 stitches. You will have a total of 64 stitches in this middle part. You should have 16 stitches left, and into each one of those we'll do again only 1 single crochet. And remember that usually the first one that I do, I add my stitch marker simply so I can tell the difference between the ones where I have 2 stitches and these that only have 1. At the end of this row, you should have a total of 96 stitches. We are simply going to get to the end, chain 2, turn, and then for rows number 8 and number 9, we are only going to crochet double crochets into each one of the stitches. So I will meet you at the end of row number 9, because that is where we're going to change colors. This is the end of row number 9, and this is where we're going to switch colors. Okay, so remember that you start your last double crochet as usual, and then right before you're going to finish it, that is when we'll do the switch with the spearmint color in my case. Now grab the new one and chain 2 as usual. Turn your work, and this is where we cut off the white. Like that. For rows 10 and 11, we're not going to do any increases. We're simply going to double crochet into every stitch. And remember, there should be 96 of them. I will meet you once you're done with row number 11. For row number 12, you're going to double crochet 16. You're going to double crochet into the next 16 stitches. After those initial 16 double crochets, we would usually do 2 double crochets into each stitch, right? But this time we're going to do 2 double crochets into that same stitch. Into the next stitch we're going to do only 1. Then into the next stitch we're going to do 2 again into the same stitch. Into the next stitch only 1. And that's how we're going to alternate. So 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. Okay, for the next 64 stitches until you reach the point where you have 16 stitches left, right? I will meet you over on this side. Now we will finish row number 12 with 1 double crochet into each of the next 16 stitches. That's going to give you a total of 128 stitches for this row. And this is the row where at the end we're going to switch back to the color white, okay? Switch back, take the white one and chain 2. Turn your work. We will cut off this lagoon color one. Now we start row number 13. Row number 13, we're only going to do double crochets all the way, 1 into each stitch. So remember, you should have a total of 128. You are going to do 3 rows of this white one. There's going to be no increases. So this is row number 13, and then you come back 14 and then 15. You do all of those the same way, and I will meet you at the end of row number 15. When you're about to be done with row number 15, this is where you're going to switch colors to the lagoon colored one. So remember, right before you finish that last double crochet and you have 2 left on your hook, pull the new yarn through, chain 2, and turn your work. We can cut off the white yarn for the next 3 rows. So rows 16, 17, and 18, you're going to do the same. That's 128 stitches back and forth, and I will meet you at the end of row 18. And now I'm done with row number 18, and this is where I'm going to switch again to the color white in that last stitch as usual. Remember to chain 2 and turn your work. Now we can cut off this lagoon color yarn. All right, now for row number 19, we're going to start again with our usual 16 stitches, like 16 double crochets, 1 into every stitch. There I have my 16 double crochets. I put in my stitch marker. And now for the next 96 stitches, you're going to do the following. You're going to double crochet 2 into the same stitch, and then double crochet 1 into the next stitch, then double crochet 1 into the next stitch as well. Now double crochet 2 into the same stitch, and then again 1 into the next stitch, 1 into the next stitch, and then 2. So it's 2 1 1, 2 1 1, After you've done those 96 with this pattern, you should have a total of 128 stitches in this middle part. All right, and then you should, again, when you're done with those, you should then have 16 left at the end, where we will do our usual 16 double crochets, one into every stitch. There, that's the end of row number 19, and you should have a total of 160 stitches after this increase. Good, chain 2, turn your work, and now for rows number 20 and 21, all we're going to do are double crochets all the way. And remember, you should have 160 stitches in each row. I have now finished row number 21. So I am at the last stitch. This is where I'll switch my color to coral, pull it through, and now I chain 2 and turn my work. We are ready to start row number 22. And basically now rows number 22, 23, and 24 are all going to be done the same way. There are no increases. You are just going to go back and forth, and you should have 160 stitches, and we are only going to do double crochets into every single stitch. I will meet you after you're done with those 3 rows, and that is when we'll switch for the last time to the color white. Done with row number 24. Yay! Okay, this is the last change we're going to do of color, and we will do back to the white. I don't know if I had shown it to you before, but just in case I didn't, you can make a knot, well, 2 knots right here. And now rows 25, 26, and 27, we are going to do double crochets. Again, all the way, no increases. So you should still have 160 stitches in each row. After you're done with these 3 rows, we will be done with this side of the rainbow. When you're done with row number 27, then simply cut off this yarn, the white one, pull it through this loop, fasten off, and now you need to do this one more time. So go back to the beginning, and then do the same thing for the other side. And you can switch out the colors, which is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to start with the coral at the bottom and then just, switch them around. But you can do the exact same, whatever you want, but finish the second part so that then we can put this little rainbow pillow together. Now I've done the 2 sides for the rainbow. Sorry, I can't get it all in here. As you can see, I switched it up. So over here I started with this color and went up, and then on this side I just switched the colors, and I haven't cut off this yarn yet. If you did already, that's okay, it doesn't matter. And if you haven't, then that's great, because we are going to join the 2 sides and we're going to do single crochets. We're going to line them up and basically go all the way around. But before you do that, you have 2 options. So one, you can just pretty much go all the way around and then leave a space where you can then put the stuffing in. Since this is pretty wide and my baby, she's still very young, and I don't want the stuffing to come out or that she'll pull it out and maybe eat it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take some fabric, just some old fabric or old t-shirts, whatever you have laying around, and then I'm gonna line it up with one side, cut it out, so cut out 2 parts and sew it together with my sewing machine and put the stuffing in there, and then I'll put that whole piece inside of this. Like I said, you have both options, it's completely up to you. And there's your finished rainbow with pom-poms at the bottom. I know it is a lot of work, but it is so worth it. Your child has a beautiful pillow now, or you can use it as home decor. I really hope you enjoyed making it and that it was easy to follow along. I appreciate you being here. Please subscribe and follow me on Instagram at Humblehus. tag me with your work. I would love to see what you're doing with these projects. I will see you next time. This is Humblehus. Bye.